Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, August 2nd, and there's just a lot of sports, Tom. What's up?
Not much, Justin. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We only had one episode last week. My fault.
Mine too.
Lost a little bit of memory, but so we're gonna have two again this week. There's so much to talk about this from this weekend, this past week. Briefly go over some of it. The U.S. won the Gold Cup last night. I'll get into that a little bit. Training camps are right around the corner. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw yesterday that it's 42. Yesterday was 42 days until the Browns open versus the Chiefs. So that's exciting. Definitely exciting. And then this is like, have you seen the Olympic commercial with? Like they're swimmers, but it's like lines. It says lines or something.
No.
It's like lines. They try to divide us. They try to separate us. Basically, what the sports world has become is you just take like any random object and like make it like an important thing. I don't know how to explain it, but like it's just it's great. Like like lines they separate us. It's just lines. They're just lines. We don't need to keep making things up. Like I don't know. That frustrated me the other day, but that's the English language for you, I guess. I don't know. All right, today in sports history, this is actually a pretty big one. In 1921, after 3 hours of deliberation, Chicago jury acquits 8 Chicago White Sox accused in the Black Sox scandal. They are banned the next day from organized baseball for life. Pretty sure everyone knows about that. The old Black Sox. I mean, we're obviously pretty far away from. No, I wouldn't say pretty far away. We're probably about halfway there to sports gambling being legal in all the states. We're probably about halfway there. So I always feel like there's going to be another team that does this. Like. I don't know how you would do it, but I just feel like at some point in the future, it's going to become so easy for a ref to just like make a call and change the outcome of a game. I hope it never comes to that, but I also kind of hope it does because I mean that you just throw sports out the window. It's just WWE SmackDown.
Well, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't see it here in the outline. Apparently there's that hockey player who's now in a lot of trouble with the NHL because his wife went on Instagram because he went on vacation without her or something, and she took to Instagram and was like, yeah, he was shaving points to be okay with the bookies. I'm like, what was his name? Hang on, I want to pull it. I think it's Xander.
No, it's Evander Kane.
Evander Kane. I almost said Xander Kane. I knew I was close.
Yeah, that's a great it's a great pickup by you. But yes, I did see that yesterday, and I got to tell you, buddy, like I read a little bit into it. Like, I think they're still married. I don't know. But like, if your wife is openly like saying online that you shaved points and you cheated, I don't think your marriage is going the right way. Like, I think we need to.
Well, and all of this because he took a vacation without her. Like, this all could have been avoided.
Hockey, like European and like Canadian hockey players are weird. I like playoff hockey, but I'll just never understand hockey players. I don't think they're. And like I said, it wouldn't shock me if he was shaping points. Like
but I don't really know how you shape points in hockey.
You can't. That would be the argument. I think. I mean, you can't really shape points in hockey. You can't really do it in soccer, other than making like blatantly obvious penalty call either.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, hockey, I think, is one of those sports where you like can't shape points. Like baseball, I guess you can because you can like make the argument, oh, swinging a baseball bat's really hard, because it is the hardest or one of the harder things to do in sports. Basketball, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple, I think, to shape points as well. Football, same thing. But hockey, I think, is the one, if not like one of like 3 or 4 sports where you can't really shape points.
Yeah, I think they do have like they do penalty shots now, so like you could
Yeah, but those aren't common.
Yeah, it would be hard to fly under the radar in hockey, like actively shaving points. You would get found out in like 3 days. So yeah, but yeah, that was a good pickup by you, definitely. In 1929, the Philadelphia first baseman Don Hurst sets an NL record of 6 consecutive games with a home run in the Phillies' 2-0 win versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. I got to tell you, when I go back and look at all these today things in like sports history, and there's all these like exciting baseball things on there, it just sucks because like it seems like baseball used to be so exciting, and now it's like you can't pay me to watch a game. Like
I like
where like if this guy was hitting home runs in the 20s, his first 6 at bats, like what? I mean, is he Babe Ruth? Like. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, so another thing that I didn't see, but like this was the then NL record. Joey Votto just came to a close. He had 7 games in a row, and he fell inches short. I don't know if you saw it, but he fell inches short of breaking the MLB record for 8 consecutive games with a home run. It was versus the Mets. That's why I was watching it. The ball, literally, if this is the wall, the ball like hit here or hit like almost so close to the top. I was like, oh, like even though it was versus the Mets, like they were losing. It ended up being like a 7-1 game. So I'm like, come on, just give them the record. Just throw a little layup over the middle.
Joey Votto is, and I feel like there are these guys in the MLB like Joey Votto. I don't know, like Freddie Freeman, who play like unsexy positions that like even into like their mid 30s, like 35, 36, 37. They'll hit for average. They'll hit like 280 and they'll be fine.
Yeah, well, and like Joey Votto, like he's been in the league forever. I didn't realize how old he was. I saw him in his like presser after the game. He was at like this really weird getup going on. I'm not going to go into that, but I was looking at him. I'm like, yo, you're looking old, dude.
Yeah,
he's got like the wrinkle lines by his eyes. I'm like, oh my god.
Yes, and I do want to bring up another coach, but we'll get to that later with Greg Popovich, I guess. But, so that's today's sports history. All right, trivia. You might be able to get this. All right, who is the NFL's all-time leader in kickoff return touchdowns, and how many?
I want to say, I know I have 2 people in my mind. I'm going to go with Devin Hester.
Okay, I'm going to stop you. It's not Devin Hester.
Okay, well then I'm not going to go with Devin Hester. I don't think Dion did kickoff return. I'm going to go with Josh Cribbs.
Yes, correct.
Josh Cribbs, and I'm going to say he had 8.
You cheated. All right, you totally cheated.
No,
totally
I really did.
Don't even lie. You totally cheated.
No, I really didn't. I shot in the dark is 8. I knew no one has had 10. I knew it was close. I was like, 7, 8, somewhere in there. I'm going 8. I swear to God, that's the first time I saw it. I just opened it when you sent it to me like 20 minutes ago, and you saw me. I was on my phone the whole time. I was on putting up my the page for Snapchat and Twitter and everything.
All right, I don't know if I believe you, but whatever. It is
Cross
funny.
My heart.
It is funny to look back and like there was like all of his kickoff returns on YouTube. I mean, I've just been falling down in YouTube rabbit holes like for 2 weeks. I just go in there and die. But I saw all of his kick returns. I mean, some of them were just insane. Like there was one that he had to versus the Steelers where like he thought it was going to go out of bounds. Everyone thought it was going to go out of bounds, and the ball stopped at the 1 yard line. And he had to pick it up and run with it, and he returned it for a touchdown. Like he just did some crazy things. He was a Kent State alum, and one of the funnier things is one of the best receivers of all time, and then one of the best special teams players of all time. They were on the same team at Kent. Julian Edelman and Josh Cribbs.
Were they really?
Yeah, I'm almost positive. Yeah. My parents have met Edelman's parents multiple times, so which is weird because like when Edelman played at Kent, he was from California. Mm-hmm. So like, what are you doing with your camera?
It's like off center and it's kind of messing with me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you're messing with me with all this noise in my ear. All right, maybe. Oh yeah, this will get you. My morbid question of the week.
Morbid.
Yeah. All right. New segment. I don't know.
Morbid.
Just kind of. This is more like a would you rather. All right. So, say you're gonna get shot and die. You're just gonna get shot and die. At night when you're laying in bed, do you want to be facing your killer when he shoots you in the heart or in the head, or do you want to be facing away?
Facing.
Okay.
That way I know who did it, so I know who to haunt.
Yeah, that's a very good answer, actually. It's a very well.
I'm not going peacefully. I'm gonna haunt somebody. It's gonna be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you? So yeah, that was just something for whatever reason, I was thinking about that last night. I was like, if you were like if you knew you were gonna get stabbed and there's not much you could do about it, would you rather have it be like in your back and like go to your heart, or like in the front? But I would probably pick the front as well. All right, and now we get to we'll go to the Olympics. So I just want to say one quick thing about Simone Biles. I don't really care that she's missing. I think you explained it, and she had time to prepare, but whatever. There was a guy in Cleveland that wrote an interesting piece that was. It was weird because he was like, Simone Biles just should have lied. Like, she should have just lied and put her arm in a sling or something, and then no one would have asked questions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right? I mean, because I read it and I was like, no, this is crazy. And I was like, I mean, that is a better idea, actually, because then, like, had Naomi Osaka, or I think that's her name, like, had she just, like, had like a physical injury or faked a physical injury, like, no one would have asked questions. So it sucks that mental health is looked at like that in the world, but everyone is making good strides with it. But and I'll say this: if the problem with Simone Biles, the talk is, you're either completely on one side and you hate her and it's stupid, or you're completely on the other side and like, you just care about her health and stuff. So there's really no in between. It's just extreme opposites. So I don't know if you have anything else on that.
No, I mean, I sort of was telling you beforehand, like, I understand it, and I don't like, if you were battling these things, like, you did have 3 years to, like, figure it out and everything, but I understand you get there and you're trying to push through and be the hero that everyone's, like, having you be in the commercials to be represented as and everything. And, like, I understand you get there and, like, you just can't do it anymore. But if you knew you were going into, the Olympics with these issues, like, you could have backed out and give the spot to someone else who was working just as hard.
And then, even if she comes up, like, I'm not going to say someone who came up with an excuse, but like, oh, it got delayed. Like, no, that should help you. You had more time then to, like, get your medication. You told me the story about her medications and things. I've never been to Japan. I don't know. There needed to be a way for her to get it there, because I have a hard time believing that.
Well, she could have petitioned with all the other athletes to say, like, hey, we need this specific substance in Japan while we're here, because it's a vital thing for my mental health and all this stuff. And they could have brought it to the Olympic Committee, and the Olympic Committee could have brought it to Japan as a country and said, hey, we need an exemption for this for these 2 months or 2 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's not really the same, but it's almost like, it's not the same. Never mind. So, I was going to say something else. The thing that she has, like I said, the twisties, which she has, I feel like I live my life in the twisties. Like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know where I am in time and space. Like, I almost think she's maybe like an Avenger and she's in a different universe right now. So, but hopefully she gets better, whatever. Now I'm just going to go ahead and say it now after the women's national team lost this morning. We are clearly no longer the best country in sports. Like, clearly. Well, if you did like an all-around tournament and put like all of it up, U.S. and China would probably be up there. But, I mean, so we'll get into – all right, where do you want to start? You want to start with the women's national team? You want to start with the basketball team? You want to start with –
we can start with the soccer team because I actually didn't – I only saw when we were getting on that they had lost.
I have to look it up. They lost 1-0.
Who'd they play?
I believe they played Canada.
I think it was Canada. Now that you said that, yeah. I mean, I understand losses happen, and I understand that you can't win them all, and the streak was going to come to an end. Blah 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 blah. I think it's a little far to say that the American teams are not the best overall anymore. Because like I said, like it's a weird year. It's a year that should have happened last year, and people, for as much as we want to say the extra year of training helped, it honestly could have hurt because that's more wear and tear on their bodies. So I understand this is like a weird year, everything, but to go as far as to say that the United States is not the best at sports anymore is, I think, a bit of a stretch. With that being said, though, I'm not very surprised that the national team lost. Because soccer is one of those sports that's very up in the air a lot of the times.
And that's 100% true. If you watch like the Premier League or the men's national team,
Mm-hmm.
the women's national team, like they are well away and above the best team, and it's really not even close. And so I'll tie it into like obviously the U.S. won the Gold Cup, and I'll get more into that, but it's kind of shifting that maybe the U.S. because they are like the women's team. A lot of those guys are getting older. Like Alex Morgan, I think is like 33. Mm-hmm. So they're getting older, and it seems like the men have a good young crop coming up. And I will also say that like the women's team, like you can like ask for like same pay. You can do whatever you want, but as long as you're winning, I don't have a problem with that. If you're losing and trying to tell us that like you deserve the same amount of money as the men, it's just not true because, I mean, we know how like audiences work. It's just so I don't know. I didn't really read much. I literally just went on ESPN this morning and read it. So they lost their first game to, I believe, Sweden. Yeah, Sweden. 3-0, and I guess they haven't. I mean, I haven't really watched. I watched the penalty shootout in the quarters, but they just didn't look like they wanted to be there, and I understand it. Like for the soccer players that are there, and the basketball players, and the guys that are in team sports there, I got to tell you, I don't blame them. I don't know if I'd want to be there either. Like we basically like if you look at the soccer team, so women's and men's like. Soccer across the world hasn't had a break or more than like a 6-week break in almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then the basketball guys, I mean, they're coming off a shortened season. So, I mean, yes, while it's like prideful and everything to play for the country and like if you have the chance, you should definitely do it at least once. But like, I honestly just don't think that I think they should. I'll move on to the basketball team. They should have gone with a completely different model and just gone young. Like, I get Kevin Durant and Dame Lillard are like the best players in the NBA. I mean, they're not. I mean, Luka Doncic is, but like whatever. But they're getting older. They should have made a team with Trae Young, Michael Porter Jr., Jared Allen, like DeAndre Ayton. I just think they went around about this the wrong way.
Well, and when you look back at like the teams that have done well in the Olympics for us, it's made up of young studs. It's not made up of old guys, So yeah. I've had a lot of conversations with people about the United States basketball team and everything. And some people think, oh, we should just go back to sending college players. I don't necessarily agree with that. I do think, and I agree with you 100%, that it should be more of a rising stars team.
Yeah.
It should be young guys with talent to allow them to play better and learn on their playmaking skills and all this other crap, and also like kind of get to know the rules outside of the NBA rules, because that has been the biggest issue right now for stars like Kevin Durant, Dame Lillard. They're expecting fouls that they get as stars in the NBA.
Like sorry. Like I think had you have sent Trae Young over to the Olympics, I don't think he would have struggled, but he would have not liked the call. I mean, none of those guys don't like they're not getting calls. So, but like if you put the young guys in that situation, at least they learn from that and they take that into the next season. Like at this point, like Kevin Durant's not going to change the way he does things. Damian Lillard's not going to change the way he does things. So, and I also think part of it is for especially the basketball. I mean, and it's not fair. Well, it is fair considering the U.S. it's like an all-star team full of Hall of Famers, but like Australia is like stays together for 5-6 years. Nigeria has been together forever. Spain has been together. So I understand that there's like issues with chemistry, but it's still like they're not very good. They're not playing very well. I don't think Greg Popovich had any plan going into these Olympics. I honestly think he went into those exhibition games and was like, all right, we got 5 all-stars. They need to score. And like, I like Pop. He was one of the best coaches. Was one of the best coaches. I don't think he's one of the best coaches anymore necessarily. I think that games kind of passed him by. But yeah, I just don't know why. I don't know why they didn't send younger guys. I
really like the point that you had made about like Kevin Durant not going to change the way he plays the game. Not only is he not going to change the way he plays the game, but he expects those foul calls that we were talking about from the NBA. A guy like Marvin Bagley, who I know he's not, great. He's a pretty good player, solid role player. Not great yet. He could go on to the Olympic team. He doesn't get the superstar calls that LeBron or KD get. He gets the normal calls that the rest of the world assumably gets. You would have a better team sending those young guys who play in the NBA because they're not looking for those ticky-tack fouls is what I call them. They get the actual fouls that FIBA refs will call.
Yeah, and like I said, going into this, I think everyone knew that the NBA players, I think, weren't going to get a lot of the calls they wanted. I don't think people thought it was going to be this bad. I'm not surprised. I mean, and this is a bad example because Giannis did get like crushed every game, but in the NBA, if you have a guy like Giannis, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, if he gets the ball in the paint, it doesn't matter if no one touches him. The whistle just blows automatically. So I really do think they could have sent a much better team. Like I said, I think Popovich, I just don't think he knows what he's doing right now. I think he should have. I think he needs to pass over the torch here. The thing that really sucks, really sucks about this, and like this is the worst part about it, is that Coach K people are now like, oh, he's the greatest coach ever.
I mean, I'm a Coach K guy because like I was a Duke guy for a long time. Like I'm not going to go out and say he's the best overall basketball coach ever or whatever, but he obviously had some sort of understanding to get people to play together would be the only thing I would say.
I didn't ask you to comment about Coach K. We don't.
Too bad.
You can't comment about Coach K unless it's a negative thing. And otherwise, I'm going to find a mute button and mute you on it because Coach K is a scumbag loser, and I hope he. Oh God, I hate that guy. But yeah, so I think people are a little shocked at the basketball that has been going on. They drew Spain in the quarterfinals. Now, I will go back also to your point about guys like the young guys learning to play in the FIBA rules. I mean, Luka Doncic is dominating for Slovenia. He is averaging nearly a triple-double, and I'm sure he's not getting a lot of the calls that he wants, but he's good enough and he's able to change his game enough where it doesn't matter because he's still young and he still has different ways to go about things. So And like I said, they drew Spain in the quarterfinals. In no way is that an easy win. Like, it would not
No.
surprise me at all if they lost.
Well, and I don't know if you saw this at all, but me and my family were talking yesterday about the number of NBA players, current NBA players on each of these teams. The United States obviously has the most. I think they have 8. Well, I mean, their whole roster is, but like star players and whatever. They have their roster. Second is Nigeria, who has 8 players. Then it's, I think, Australia and then France. Now, can you tell me what is so interesting about those 3 teams that have current NBA players on their team?
They all beat the United States.
They are all 3 teams that the United States have lost to. They can't beat people that have NBA players. And just so everyone's clear, like those are numbers of current NBA players. Like I know Argentina has, I think, 4 or 3 current NBA players, but 5 like former NBA players. One of them being Luis Scola, who looks like an animal still. I don't know if you saw that picture.
Yeah, he's
animal. But the 3 teams that have the most,
he makes Steven Adams look tame.
Yeah. Yeah. But those 3 teams all have a large number of current NBA players, and those are the 3 teams the United States lost to. I thought that was a really interesting fact that no one's talking about.
Yeah, and I also think part of it is that like these guys from other countries that are now coming over to the NBA, I think that a lot of them, they take more pride in what they do for their countries than any of the U.S. players, and that's understandable in a way. But like I really do feel like that that these other teams, like they get these big Serbian guys or big Australian guys or big New Zealand guys, and I think they just like their goal is to beat the United States every Olympics, and it's getting to the point where like they're getting everyone's best shot. And they're like when LeBron in 2008 when I think they won the bronze in 2004, and then so they got 2008. Like LeBron was still young, and everything then. I don't know where I was going. So,
all right.
But yeah, though like I said, I just think they get these big like these teams that just like like they see guys like Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and they're like I hate you, and I see Jason Tatum and I'm like I hate you too, so we agree.
There you go.
The only 2 other things I don't know. The table tennis final was not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Although it is absolutely insane what those guys do on it's a full-blown tennis match. Like it was, and
they
honestly,
have curveballs, they have droppers,
honestly, if there was like a professional ping pong league, I could never play. I would absolutely watch it 100%.
I'm pretty sure,
and it would be awesome to gamble on it. So,
I have to say though, the one thing that I did see, I was on SportsCenter or ESPN or something yesterday for like 5 minutes. They were showing the highlight of doubles table tennis. I didn't even know doubles existed.
How do you do that? The table's not big enough.
You rotate who takes turns hitting.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. See, that's
they were going full blown and then jumping out of each other's way, and just the one guy was holding a paddle upside down with like a little grip, and he went boom curveball with a little wrist snap on it. I was like, what?
But the guy who did win it, it's his third. It's either his 3rd or 4th straight Olympics where he's won it. So
yeah, the guy from China.
I think I gotta look up his name, but I think we need to memorialize him. And I'm dead serious. I think someone should start a ping pong league. I really do.
I'm pretty sure there is one.
Well, then you know what? We had trouble finding cricket, so we'll find ping pong.
We'll find ping pong. Ping pong's the new sport.
The only other 2 things I had from the Olympics. Did you see the high jump final?
No,
Uh, it was
maybe.
it was awesome. It was between this guy from Qatar and I believe an Italian guy. And I don't know how the high jump works, but they both basically both of them like broke the world records, and then they both I think missed the next jump. So I think like you either keep going until someone gets it or go down. I don't know, but they basically just shared the gold medal.
Oh, I did see that. They were like,
yeah,
"Can we get 2 golds?"
yeah,
And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's possible." And then they were hugging it out and everything. I was like,
yeah,
"That's what the
and
Olympics is about."
yeah, and it was awesome. It was sweet, like it was awesome. And then it, first of all, I had no idea Usain Bolt no longer ran in the Olympics. I thought he was going to run till he was like 60.
I mean, he's like old.
But with that being said, an Italian guy that won the 100 meters, I wouldn't have guessed that in my first 10 guesses if you would have said, what country do you think the 100-meter final, like, where? Yeah, so, but that was awesome. So that was good for him.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're good.
I was just gonna say I've been really enjoying the swimming. The 1,500 meter, I forget who tweeted it out. Someone was like, 1,500 meters is like too much swimming. I was like, no, it's not. It's not enough.
and the best about the swimming is I don't know what his name is, but the guy
Dressel, the guy.
No, not the swimmer, the commentator guy who goes insane. He just like look it up on YouTube. It's like something Cam and when Dressel swims.
Yeah,
it's been an awesome Olympics because kind of like just the things you've talked about. Like some of you think like the high jump was cool, like the 100 meters is cool. It seems like other than the U.S. team sports, it's been a very peaceful and like fun Olympics.
That's why I always love when the Olympics come around. I prefer the summer to the winter, because I can't get behind some of the. Well, not can't get behind, but I just don't enjoy watching some of the winter sports as much as I enjoy the summer sports.
I understand that.
Like it's cool watching the half pipe and the like freestyle snowboard and ski thing where they like jump on the rails and stuff. It's all cool, but like I genuinely like get into watching the swimming. Like what was it called? What's the one called where they have the 4 different people doing the swimming and they each do like a different discipline?
A medley.
Yeah, I love watching the medley because that was just so cool. And like that third guy who hadn't had a gold medal yet or hadn't medaled in the Olympics yet at like 26, he went third and was doing I think the breaststroke, and he like made it really close. And then the guy who did the freestyle was just like zoom, I'm gone, and I was going crazy. It was so much fun. I love the swimming. I get into it.
If you ever want to get a blast from the past and relive probably one of the greatest swims in history. Search just Jason Lazak, Michael Phelps. When they came back and beat, I mean, I still watch that sometimes. They're in these Olympics because I'm like, I need Michael Phelps back, like to
right. And I watched the Katie Ledecky one from 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I guess now, where she's just like literally a pool length away from someone else.
Yeah, she's really good. I think she lost. Like
she lost something that she got gold in the last time, and then she bounced back with a gold.
So this Dressel guy, how young is he?
24, 20. Let's see. He is 24.
24. Okay, so next Olympics, Summer Olympics, we'll probably get the Michael Phelps treatment from him. You would think.
I don't know. Phelps went for a really long time. Like, but swimmers can go for a long time like that if they're good. So I hope. Yeah. I like him. He's fun to watch.
Yeah. So like we said, it's been a pretty good Olympics, except for basically the United States.
We can leave it behind now because I will keep fanboying over a bunch of these. I love the Olympics.
Clearly. We should have done like a bigger like pre-Olympic show. You know what? Maybe we'll do a closing ceremony for the Olympics, and we'll give out our awards for the Olympics. Now back to the United States. We'll hop into baseball real quick.
We can go over it. We could go over it quick.
The Mets did not sign Kumar Rocker. I tried to look this up. I think like there was something wrong with his throwing arm, or
I think it was his elbow.
I think he has the choice to go back to Vanderbilt if
he's not going to. He's going to start his professional career with like a independent league, and then he's eligible for the 2022 draft.
I mean, if I'm the Met, like the Mets have done a lot of good things, and they're on here again after this. What were we talking about?
Kumar Rocker.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just sign him to like a cheaper contract now, unless his arm is like actually shot.
So they were trying to get a deal done, but like then he like failed the physical. So I think they talked about a smaller contract, but the way that the draft works is kind of like the NBA draft where each pick is like worth X amount of money. And it's like almost locked in. And like you could have signed him to a smaller contract, but I don't think because this agent's Scott Boras. So I don't think Scott Boras was going to take anything less than what the pick was worth.
Yeah.
So I think they ended up not signing him because he was being difficult. And like I will say, I like a lot of the moves the Mets have been making recently. This one just is kind of a head scratcher because this is a guy who was supposed to be the number one pick up until this year, really, when he had the inconsistencies. And
it was really up until this year until his teammate came around.
Yeah, Jack Leiter.
But move on to better Mets news. Basically, this was crazy, and this is also it's relevant to me because the 2016 Cubs were the ones that beat the Indians in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen wholesales for teams and like trading everybody. Them trading Baez, Rizzo, and Bryant
on top of their young pitchers too.
Like, I agree. You probably had to trade him because you're gonna get nothing for them if they walk.
Which they will.
But they literally, and then of course, all three of them homered in their debuts. So
I saw that and I was laughing.
So I guess we'll do Rizzo and Bryant separately. What do you think of Baez? Because when this first happened, it really, really surprised me because they have Lindor, but Lindor is hurt, right?
Right.
And Baez has played second base before, so yes, I think that would be their goal.
The reason that I think the Mets pursued Baez over Bryant was the fact that Baez came out into the press and said the only way that I would play second ever again is if I were to play with Francisco Lindor. I've played with him on the Puerto Rican national team. I've played with him on this, that, or the other thing. You know, I love being around him. He's a great team player, and he would be the guy I would play second for. Any other team, I am playing shortstop. And the Mets took that as, hey, we can get someone of his playing caliber and have him play second, which generates a cheaper contract than shortstop. And they went out and got him. And I like Baez. I like kind of the image around him in the public, and I like kind of his like whole El Majo thing and everything. I don't understand why the Mets bring in a guy who's going to strike out 130 times a year. Because he is a strikeout machine. He doesn't draw a lot of walks.
He basically had like 1.5 really, really good years, and he's kind of been like above average, I would say, lately, but not much above average.
Yeah, if you were looking at the money, and John Zagul did a really good segment on this. If he were a prospect that were just brought up, and if you looked at his numbers in the first half of the season, he would have been demoted immediately to AAA. It's the fact that they were paying him the huge contract and paying his huge salary that he stayed in. So I'm hoping that, change of scenery, we could start to see more of the home run Javi Baez that we've been seeing. But personally, I was a big fan of the Mets going after Bryant over Baez. I thought he was a guy that fit the team better. I like guys who play utility, kind of like how Bryant does, but he's a position of need because our third baseman, I always pronounce his name wrong, and I'm not even going to attempt to say it. But the third base position for the Mets is one of need, and Chris Bryant, while he can play third and should play third, he has the ability to play outfield. He has the ability to play first. He has the ability to kind of be that utility guy like we have in Jeff McNeil and some of the other guys on the team.
JD Davis and
Gilly Amore is the guy I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
I think is how you say his name. I didn't want to attempt it. But JD Davis, Jeff McNeil, Gilly Amore plays some outfield sometimes too, I think. The Mets have a bunch of utility players, and they should have kept that kind of going. Because, I know you can be good at everything and not be great at one thing, and that can hurt you. Chris Bryant is very good defensively wherever you put him. And he's a big bat. He's batting really well this year. He's in contention for the MVP. He was my first pick of who I would have traded for. Rizzo, he draws a lot of walks, and he's a big power left-handed hitter. We already have a big power left-handed hitter with Dom Smith, but he would have been good too. And any of them, honestly, would have been good. Bryant was just my favorite, partially because I'm a fan of his too.
So who did the Dodgers end up with?
The Dodgers ended up bringing in Danny Duffy from, I think, the Brewers, but I could be wrong about that. That's the team I last remembered him playing for. And then they had that huge haul from the Nationals where they brought in both Scherzer and Turner, which has basically made them a super team. And it's funny. After the trade deadline, I saw Sports Track updated the salary cap numbers. The Dodgers are in first place, unsurprisingly, with the salary cap. They're spending $291 million, I believe it was. The next closest team, you might ask, the Yankees at 203. So they're spending $90 million more than the next team. And the Mets are third with 187 or something, maybe 197. So it really does draw the question. And more people, now that the Dodgers have made these moves for two superstars, should there be a salary cap in baseball?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I had heard about the Nationals deal into the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of going too far, I think. They're not even really trying to I mean, they're doing what who's the St. Louis or Los Angeles Rams coach?
McVay.
Yeah, they are doing what McVay does. They're just getting all the players in their prime right now instead of waiting for prospects, which for the most part I agree with. But at the same time, it's just not fair that you have a team like the Dodgers who
because they're in the LA market can spend $300 million on payroll, whereas last place is the Indians or the Guardians, I guess they are now. Are they still the Indians for the rest of the year?
I think so.
All right. Well, the Cleveland spending $48 million on their whole roster. Yeah, they're spending 2 times the amount.
I mean, I was going to say the Guardians or the Cleveland baseball team. I mean, they wouldn't spend. It would take them a decade to spend that much money. So I don't like it necessarily, but it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's turning into an arms race, and pun intended, kind of, with pitchers as well. But it's between the Dodgers and then whoever in the AL wants to add as many superstars as well too. So I don't know. And then somehow the Tampa Bay Rays are still in first place, which
they just took first place. I saw that.
I mean, absolutely. Moneyball was a great movie. I am much more interested in how the Rays have stayed relevant the past decade.
Yeah, especially after trading away guys like Snell and everyone. And it's really funny you say that because the Giants are the team that hold the best record in the MLB. I think they have a 621 win percentage. And while they are the 10th most spending team, they're still 10th. And they have way above and beyond the better average than the next team, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just seems like, it seems like that's what baseball's turning into. And then Fernando Tatis Jr., he's going to consider surgery. I think something is injured, and if he sees no improvement, he's going to get surgery. That would be a huge blow to Major League Baseball. He's probably behind Shohei Ohtani, probably the most marketable player right now. Yeah, I mean, if Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and Fernando Tatis all missed out on the playoffs, I don't know if anyone would watch it. I really don't. So, all right.
Last thing. I just got a little update sort of on that Kumar Rocker situation. Apparently, the Mets were trying to negotiate down from the previously agreed upon $6 million that they owed Rocker. And Scott Boras and the rest of Rocker's team showed no signs of being willing to negotiate down from that amount. So it seems to me it was more on Boras than the Mets.
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense to me. From the Mets standpoint, it makes sense. From like Rocker, I mean, just sign for less, man. At least then you're getting into
and he should he have been healthy, the Mets could have brought him up by the end of the year because that's the way they do their draft and stuff. They could have brought him up because he is that talented.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, I don't know. And now he's got to start in the independent league, like
until he gets drafted again next year.
Yeah,
which could be the Mets again because the way that the compensation picks work, the Mets get the 11 pick next year in the draft.
I saw that.
So they could draft him again. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I got to tell you, I think there's maybe
I'm just kidding.
Maybe some bad blood between those guys. On to another draft, the NBA draft. Cavs took Evan Mobley. I love Woj on draft day always, just because like this year he basically gave out the first the first 3 picks at like 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and they all were right. I mean, it wasn't like a secret what it was, but he knew it. So I love Woj when he does it. It's funny. I've forced myself to find a way to like Evan Mobley. I guess he'll fit in kind of well with Jared Allen. I still don't want Colin Sexton. But it looks like – how old are you?
21.
Okay, so –
but when it comes to the NBA, I know a lot more about the older players than the new ones. So if you say a name, let me know.
That's no, it's not what I was going for. It's so the starting lineup could be obviously Garland, Sexton, Okoro, Mobley, and Allen. Allen's 23, Mobley's 18, Okoro's 19, Sexton's 22, and Garland's 21. So most of the Cavs starting lineup next year is going to be like it's going to be like the youngest team in the world. So,
and here I am sitting talking about them on my ass.
And I mean, let's be honest, the Cavs traded for Ricky Rubio too. So,
did they?
Yeah, I don't know.
I missed that. Yeah. I don't know.
They keep like they want me to write about like free agency and like for the Cavs. Like they're not going to sign anybody. If they do sign anybody, it's going to be terrible. The guy's going to be terrible. It's a veteran minimum. So I don't know, but so yeah, I liked the pick for what it was. I mean, it was the best option at that point of view. I still would have rather taken Jalen Suggs, which brings me to my point, which I have been looking at drafts and NBA players and basketball players for probably not a decade, but 5-6 years. I somewhat think I know what I'm talking about. I have absolutely no idea why Scotty Barnes was the 4th pick of the Raptors.
I texted you about it too. I was like, what was that about? Because I didn't think he was going to.
Well, first of all, Lowry is leaving, which in the other news is today he's going to do a sign and trade, go to the Heat. So they had the opportunity to take Lowry's replacement, put him on a rookie contract, and but then they decided to go with Barnes. Barnes can't shoot, and there's no like features of his shot that look promising. He can't shoot. Yeah, I was shocked. And then Suggs went 5 and 8. I didn't like the Magic Wagner pick. I did love the Jalen Suggs pick. And then, of course, probably my two favorite prospects in this entire draft both ended up on the Warriors, and Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody.
Oh, they got Kuminga too. I missed that.
Yeah, because he fell all the way to 7. Yeah. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I think I said it like I don't know if I said it about the Warriors. I thought for sure maybe the Magic were going to take my two guys, but it's just a sick joke that this world is playing on me. That's what it is. So
that's so unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I thought Kuminga was going to go to the Thunder. Because wasn't the Ignite the Thunder like team or whatever?
No, the Ignite's just it's the only team in the G League that's I think all 18 or 19-year-olds.
I thought he was going to go to the Thunder personally, and I thought the Warriors would have taken Giddey because he's like the exact type of player that they would like.
Giddey was a weird choice at 6. I like Giddey. He right now he just projects to be slower Ben Simmons, and we all saw how that.
Well, and 9, Davion Mitchell to the Kings. Don't they have De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton?
Dude, the Kings have absolutely no idea what they're doing. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how they've missed so badly. Like.
So
I guess De'Aaron Fox is a win. He's okay. I mean, I don't really like his game, but he's, I guess, for a first-round pick, like he's an all-star. Whatever.
So I had a question about the Knicks. They traded like a bunch of their picks away, right? I know they had 19 and 21, and the Hornets took Kai Jones, and the Clippers took Keon Johnson. And then who is this Quentin Grimes kid? Because I feel like I've heard of him. I knew he was from Houston. But, like, was that a good pick? Because I feel like taking a guy like Cameron Thomas from LSU would have been better for the Knicks.
Yeah, they should have definitely taken Cameron Thomas over him, 100%. And then who's the other guy you said?
The guy that they actually took, Quentin Grimes.
Oh, yeah. He was at Kansas for a year. Transferred out, went to Houston. He's good. He's just – and for the first time, I'm actually kind of understanding why these scouts drool over these young prospects. Like, I get it. Like, but yeah, he's just
he's only okay.
Yeah,
right.
And he's older. He's 24. I mean, 23 or 24. So he's older. And then there's a guy like Moody who's still only 18.
Right.
Because he was young first class. So
and then I had the question of like I wanted the Knicks because I knew the Knicks had 2 picks in the second. I wanted them to get Jeremiah Robinson Earl or Jason Preston. Both of them went the 2 picks before the Knicks' first pick in the second. So then they went with this Rokas Jokubaitis and Miles McBride over that guard from Illinois, who I always mess up his name, Jared Butler. And Sharif Cooper. So I just wanted to like maybe understand. Am I missing something with those 2 that they took?
Quentin Grimes?
No, Rokas Jokubaitis and Miles McBride. Zalgiris Kayunis.
Okay, so he's European.
I'm thinking.
And then
he's from Lithuania, and he played for FC Barcelona in the Spanish Liga.
And then who's the other one you said?
Miles McBride from West Virginia.
I have no idea who that is.
All right, so what you're telling me is they should have gone with Dusum. I always mispronounce his name. Ao is what I called him. The guard from Illinois.
They should have gone. I mean, I think the better player is Jason Preston, but yeah.
Well, he was gone before they picked again.
Yeah, I mean, and you said Sharif Cooper was still on the board too?
Sharif Cooper was still on the board. Jared Butler from Baylor was still on the board. Sharif Cooper fell. I know. Where did he go? He went to the Hawks.
Jared Butler doesn't surprise me. He's older, and he basically is Davion Mitchell, but older. So it doesn't surprise me. No, but I mean, if Sharif Cooper was on the board, I have no idea why they didn't draft him.
Well, he fell all the way to 48 to the Hawks.
I wanted the Cavs to buy a second-round pick, but they didn't. So other news in the NBA before we get to the NFL. Just quick things. Kawhi has declined his player option.
Yeah,
he's still reportedly going to re-sign with the Clippers, just trying to get more money. I'm at the point with Kawhi where I don't think I would give him a max contract anymore.
I wouldn't either. He's starting to get old too. I think he's like 31, 32.
Yeah, he doesn't provide enough for you offensively to just at this point he's basically like an older Jimmy Butler, and it's just whatever. He can stay with the Clippers forever. I could care less. Russell Westbrook to the Lakers. I don't know if you heard Skip Bayless just denounced that right away. Definitely listen to that clip if you can find it.
I saw the tweet.
I don't know if that'll work. It's going to be weird. It's going to be Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron all fighting over rebounds just so they can all get their own triple doubles. So, I mean, I'm excited. It'll be interesting. And like I said, the Heat are doing a sign and trade with the Raptors for Kyle Lowry, which brings me to the next point. So, at the deadline, the Heat offered Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson, and a first for Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
Wait, all of them?
Yeah. First of all, you're basically just like changing teams. Like that's
That's ridiculous.
So yeah. But that didn't go through. But yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah. So the Raptors got nothing, and they also passed on Jalen Suggs. CP3 also declined his option. Not surprising. I don't know where he's going to go. I would think he stays in Phoenix just because it's been the best place for him recently. Although it wouldn't surprise me to see him go to the Clippers or something like that. So I don't know. And then Ben Simmons, he needs to, I don't know who's in his life, whatever. Someone needs to sit him down and just talk to him. Seriously, he's not playing the Olympics, so he can work on his game. All he needs to do is put 2 or 3 Instagrams up of him shooting, and then people will be like, that's okay. But no, he decides to go on vacation and takes pictures on vacation, laying in pools, on a beach. Basketball's not everything, but dude, you look really bad. So
I'm so done with Ben Simmons. I really don't like him or want him anymore.
Right.
He's horrible.
So onto the NFL. The Browns signed Nick Chubb to an extension. 3 years, $36.6 million, $20 million guaranteed. We talked about it last night. I don't love it, but that's just because I like it more today, knowing that it's the 7th highest paid running back, which is crazy. I thought it
was lower than that. I thought it was 8 or 9.
I think it's 7th. I think Mixon's 8 at $12 million a year, and then Chubb is 12.2, and then Derrick Henry's
12.5 or something. Yeah, I think you're right. Now you say that.
So Chubb got the extension. Obviously, the next question: who gets the next extension? I don't think anyone gets extended before the season, and then I think next year, I think they'll deal with Baker and Denzel Ward, or Baker and Wyatt Teller. So we'll see about that. But they definitely have some decisions to make. And then with the vaccination, I can't make you take the shot. Your coaches can't make you take the shot. If you're actually just against it, whatever. But these NFL guys, they're just hurting their teams. people like this, like they don't make sense to me. So I really don't know how to explain it because it just like you literally just go get a shot. So I don't understand what people's issue is, and especially considering how much it's going to benefit teams that are vaccinated. It probably serves you well to just be vaccinated, Cole Beasley, who also Cole Beasley throughout the thing about he wanted Pfizer stock in his wife's name for $1 million. Mark Cuban was like, okay, and was going to give it to him. And then I don't think anything ever happened. So Cole Beasley, go away. You're a 37-year-old white receiver. You're probably going to get hurt this year. And if you don't, no one's going to sign you next year. So just go away and shut up. Yeah. And obviously, before we get into the AFC East, Tom's favorite division, Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers, which means both of us were wrong in saying that he wouldn't break first. I will say this. I don't think he necessarily broke first. I honestly think he went into the Green Bay front office and was like, get Randall Cobb, get like whoever, like sign.
Give me all these people I want now.
Yeah, like I actually think he went in there and was like, I'll play for you this year. Get these guys on the team now. So, I mean, it's good for the Packers. It will be interesting to see where he goes next year because I think he's 100% done in Green Bay.
Did you see his presser like after his first practice where he basically just walked up, like absolutely dumped on the entire Packers like organization and the higher ups, and then just like walked out? He was like, "Oh yeah, oh dude, you have to listen to it. It is so funny. It's literally like 5 minutes of him just like crapping on the Packers."
Absolutely, get into that. So
have to watch it.
Yeah, so I guess it's good for the Packers. Our NFC North predictions will probably be wrong now, but well, yeah, we both picked the Bears to win the division, so we might have to redo the NFC North just because why did we each pick the Bears to win?
Because we both thought that Jordan Love was going to be the quarterback. That's why.
I know, but still, we won't. So obviously, we've done the AFC North and the NFC North. We have our records over here. We are going to get into the AFC East this year with the Jets, the Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Bills. I know everyone likes to say that the AFC North is probably the best division, and
no, it's not. That's not true. The NFC West is the best division.
Oh, in the AFC, it's I think the AFC North is probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because New England sucks now, so that's awesome. But yeah. So we're gonna get into the AFC East. Tom, I'll let you start this one off. You could take it wherever you want.
Well, what are we starting with? Like the over-unders, or
this is your show?
This is my show now.
I'll pull up the over-unders.
Yeah, I'll just start. I'll give like a brief rundown how I think the division's gonna end up. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Bills should come out on top this year and lock up the division, just because they have Josh Allen, who took a massive leap from the prior year, last year, and I thought he was in MVP contention at one point, and I think he could do that again depending on how good the rest of the division is. So I think I would have the Bills probably winning the division. Then from there, things start to get really tricky because I would normally say the Dolphins would take away that second spot just because their defense is very stellar, and then their offense should have gotten better just due to the sheer fact that they invested so much money and draft capital and everything into the offense. But I just don't know how much I believe in Tua. Because he's not gonna have Fitzpatrick to bail him out and win him some games when he starts to not play well late in the games. Yeah. So I would normally go with the Dolphins there, but I don't. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins coming in second, but it doesn't really like sit well with me because I do think that the Patriots could win some games now that they're going to have their starters back on the defensive front. And again, another one's very contingent on the young quarterback there because I think everyone can kind of know Cam Newton's not going to be the starting quarterback for the entirety of the year. They brought him back because they needed a 1-year stopgap for Mac Jones. Might not even make it the 1-year stopgap because Jones, I think, could play by the end of the year. And then there's the Jets, who, while I'm very excited for the season and I hope that they can prove me wrong, you're going up against teams that are better than you. I love the team that they've put together, and it's a nice young core, both on the offensive and defensive front. But young does take into a factor here for me. They're inexperienced. They're not ready to make a playoff push. They're not ready to even handle being in the playoffs yet, I think that having a year to kind of develop some guys and get the team chemistry going is going to go a long way. So as much as I'd love to say that the Jets could come in second in the division, and I'd love it if it does, I just think that the other two teams are a little more experienced and are going to exploit a lot of the mistakes that some of the young guys make on the Jets. But I really do think that after the Bills winning the division, the rest of the division is completely wide open.
Yeah, I and just looking at it, I actually think, depending on how good the Patriots are, I think it's a close call between the tougher division and the AFC, between the North and the East. I'll agree with you in saying that I think the Bills should pretty easily win this division. Like I said, I think Josh Allen, I think he made a really big leap last year. So I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed in him this year, but he's not going to play bad necessarily. He just jumped so much in maturation last year that he's just going to be a good player this year, I think.
The exponential growth is insane. And what's honestly atrocious, sidetrack, the fact that he is the same overall as last year in the new Madden, atrocious.
Well, have they put all the rankings out yet?
Yeah, they put out all the quarterbacks and everything. Josh Allen got the same rating that he had last year. All right. Still an 88.
We're going to save that for
another time. Yeah.
The second show this week.
Okay.
Because we definitely need to do that.
Sure.
Like I said, I like the Bills a lot. I agree with you 100%. I just don't trust Tua. I don't. I think he gets pulled eventually, and I think he has the tools to be a good quarterback. And it's weird to say this, but I almost think playing in Alabama and playing with such good receivers and good linemen and good running backs, it hurt him coming to the NFL because, I mean, I think I've said this to you like a couple times. Like, Tua sits back in the pocket and he waits for receivers to get Alabama open, and it just doesn't happen in the NFL.
Yeah, so, and I agree 100% with your statement and assessment of that, because that's something that we've talked about a lot, and I agree. It hurt Tua, and it hurts all Alabama quarterbacks. That's why they don't really pan out in the NFL.
Yeah. So, like I said, and it's not as big of a deal because I do think he will end up playing, and he already reported. I think Xavier Howard will play.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very interesting come the trade deadline. If the Dolphins aren't where they want to be, I think they could easily become sellers. Once again, I would trade next year's first round pick for Xavier Howard. So once again, this is just more NFL front offices should think like Madden and think like me. And then the Pats, I don't expect much from the Pats. I don't. I think we'll both answer this question. I think like when Mac Jones gets in. However, I do see them being better, finishing with a better record than the Dolphins. I will say that.
I didn't want to say that, but it's just so. up in the air that I don't know. They play a tough schedule for a third place team.
And the Patriots are 9. Okay. So, all right, we're gonna go over unders.
Sure.
Jets, or I want to do Jets last because I want to talk about the Jets a little bit. Sure. So the Pats are at 9.
Well, let's see. I think they get swept by the Bills, and they'll probably split with the Dolphins and Jets. Let's be nice to the Jets. Probably lose to the Saints. Probably lose to the Bucks. Beat the Texans. What was the number? 7 or 9?
The Pats?
Yeah.
9.
I'm gonna go under. I think they feel like an 8 and 9, 7 and 10 team to me. Just looking at who they have to play.
Yeah, I don't know why I pulled up the Bills schedule.
I'm going to actually write down what I say this time so that I don't do what I did last time and forget what I said.
I'm writing it all down. It's all somewhere. So I'm looking at the Patriots as well. I agree. I think they get swept by the Bills. I do think one of them is close, though. I think one of them is close. I think they sweep the Dolphins. I'll give the Jets a win. Wait, hold on. I don't know if I will.
I said I'm being nice to the Jets.
Yeah, I'll give them one.
They usually split with the Jets.
And then I think they'll get swept by the Bills, and I think they'll also split with Miami. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They look like a 9 and 8 team to me.
We're close. I said 8, 9, 7, 10, somewhere in there.
I'm just going to go under as well because
just the fact that they have to play I think the Saints could be pretty decent, but that's the one game where I'm like, okay, yeah, that could push them into the 9 and 8 range. The Cowboys, I think, are going to beat them. The Browns should beat them. The Falcons are going to be another interesting team.
I think it's going to be interesting to see because I actually do think Matt Ryan has some gas left.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out and has like a 35-10 season, just because there's no more pressure on him. He's got Ridley.
He has the curse going with him. He's always an MVP caliber player for a year, and then he takes 2 to 3 years where he's not, and then the cycle continues. If you look at his career, that's just how it's gone.
Okay, I believe you. Yeah, so I'll go under that as well. All right, let's go to the Bills. Who do you know what division they're playing this year? All right,
they play the same division as the rest of everyone. So I think they have the NFC South like everyone else, and I think they have the AFC South. So they play both the South divisions, and then they get some of the first place schedule teams like the Packers, the Washington football team, and other teams like that. So yeah, they play both of the South, AFC and NFC South, and then they also get 2 from the the NFC North, and 2 from the AFC North, I think. Or they get first place schedules, so they get the Steelers and the Chiefs. Yeah. So they have a pretty tough schedule, but they also have kind of a cupcake schedule at the same time. Because they get to I was looking at the opening up versus the Steelers should be a good game. They get 6. Let's say 5 wins. What's the over-under?
10.5. I think they're right around 10 and 11.
Yeah. That's a tough schedule.
Yeah, I think the Jets. I think they're in the playoffs already in Week 18. I think the Jets beat them in Week 18. So I'm going to go.
I'm going over.
I'm gonna go on. Wow, I'm gonna go under. I think
because
under.
it's 10.5, and I have them at either 10 or 11 wins, like you said.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean under over, so that's fine. All right, the Dolphins. Win total 9.
9.
Yep.
Yikes. So wait, week 1 is that September 12th, right? Because they do 3 preseason games.
Yeah, they're doing 3 preseason games.
9.
So the Dolphins.
Wow.
1 and 2.
I'm gonna 9. I'm gonna go under. I see him as an 8-9 team.
6.
Oh.
I'm going. Shoot. I'm going over.
You're going over?
Yeah, because I'm right at 9.5. Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going under because I have him at 8-9 wins.
We're starting to think alike. All right, let's get to the Jets.
We have to under.
Well, I think the Jets. I mean,
I think it's like 7 wins is their over under last I checked.
It is 6.5 right now. I think you guys have a little bit more of a reason to be excited than not.
Yeah, I think that
if anything, look at this. Like, I mean,
hey, they could start the season 3-0.
Yeah, the Jets. It would be best for them to finish as bad as possible, but I could see them finishing somewhat middle of the pack. So I'm gonna look up their schedule.
They could start the season 3-0 because they play the Panthers. Then I said they would split with the Patriots, and when I think of splits, I think of the home team win. So they have the Panthers, who I think they could beat. They get the home game versus the Patriots, and then they play the Broncos. And if Drew Lock is still the quarterback, that's a winnable game. So they could start the season 3-0, and that would be awesome. Then they have to play the Titans, Falcons, Patriots.
I have them at 4-1 going into the bye week.
Yeah. I'm going over.
I am too.
I'm going over. Depending on how some people play here or there, I'm going over.
I'm going over too.
6.5. I'll go over.
All right. All right. So let's go through some of the superlatives we have, and then we'll give our final, how we think the division will shake out.
Mm-hmm.
I already kind of did this for disappointing player. I think I did. Yeah, I don't know. Most disappointing player and team for the most part. I think it's going to be Tua and the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. I think that's a popular choice as well. So I'm kind of worried about that. But like I said, because they ended up with Waddle, right? Like I don't see this goes against basically everything I said leading up to the draft. But like I just don't see Waddle having that big of an impact as say what's his name? Alabama receiver.
Smith.
Yeah, Devonta Smith, the guy. I feel like he would be able to do better with Devonta Smith.
I agree that Tua is the popular choice for most disappointing player. I'm going to go with someone else on the Dolphins. I'm going to go with Myles Gaskin because everyone is hyping him up that he's going to be like the star guy and he's going to relieve Tua and all that. I don't really see it. I don't think that he's going to break out as much as everyone expects him to because no one's really talking about Tua breaking out into MVP form. But people are saying that Gaskin could like be in top 5 of the rushing, and I just really don't see it. Okay. But I agree, the Dolphins are going to be the most disappointing team in the division.
So we kind of glossed over this. I don't know how I didn't bring this up. Maybe we've talked about it before. Is Zach Wilson starting from day one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that's good. You got to throw him to the fire. Like, might as well.
Well, it's either going to be him or it's going to be that Mike White guy or James Morgan. None of the quarterbacks on the Jets roster have thrown a pass in the NFL, so it's going to be some rookie.
That's good. That's good. So I guess then the questions become. Well, nope. That's the NFC North. When do we think Mac Jones starts by? I'm going to pull up there.
I got to relook at their schedule. I could say, I mean, the immediate knee-jerk reaction for me is like bye week or the week after the bye week.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But if I had to like put a string of games that he could start, I could see him starting by the time they play the Panthers, November 7th. I don't know what that's in relation to the bye week, but that would be the first game I would be like, okay, that seems like a game where that could be a tune-up game for him. But then he'd have to go play the Browns the next week. So maybe he plays the week after the Browns or the end of the Browns game and starts his first game by the time they play the Falcons.
I think. All right, so what? Just had this.
Because I think the Patriots bye week is in between that November 18th and November 28th. So I think they have a late bye. So he's probably going to start before then. So I'm going to say the range of games he starts by is the Panther game through the Falcon game.
I think he starts for. No, that's not true. I think he's. Shit.
Maybe the Texan game.
Yeah, you're pretty much right there. I agree. It's somewhere between the Panthers and the Falcons. I would think they would want to do it between week 11 and week 12. But the only problem with that is that's his first away game at Atlanta, and you kind of want your guy to start at home. So I think the most sense might be November 28th versus the Titans. He gets his first.
Yeah, that's after the bye week, though, and that only gives him, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games where he starts?
No, that's the bye week's in week 14.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Titans are 12. So, yeah,
I mean, but that only gives him 6 games, and if Belichick likes to give his guys like, ample time to play.
Yeah,
he might start him in that Browns game, and that would be horrible for him.
Yeah, I don't know, something around there that makes the most sense. But I think we both agree that he will be the starter by the end of the year. All right. AFC East, best player in the division.
I mean, it's hard to not go with someone named Josh Allen. I mean, it'll be him, or like if you want to look at it, like Stephon Diggs, maybe.
There you go. So I was going to say Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
All right. Who's the best defensive player?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would assume Xavier Howard would be the popular choice, but if he doesn't play through the season there, Marcus May comes to mind. If you're looking at individual performance, if you're looking for someone who's more like involved with the team that wins. God, I don't know. Who's the linebacker the Bills brought back? Matt Milano? No.
Who did the Patriots get from Baltimore?
Matt Judon.
Yeah, that's my answer. Matt Judon.
Good enough choice. I'm going to go with Marcus May if we're talking individual performances.
Is he signed an extension yet, or is he playing on?
He's playing on the tag. I'm not going to get into that because I'm very upset with that. We literally just went through this with Jamal Adams. We literally just went through it.
All right. Well, then, so we're going to give our predicted order, but before that, how many teams from the AFC East make the playoffs?
1.
I agree, actually. I actually agree.
Whoever wins the division will go to the playoffs, and that is it.
I'm all in on that one. All right, so let's go over the top 4 with records. So
I wrote this down. I have the Bills finishing at the top, and I'm going to give them 11-6.
All right. I'm also with the Bills at the top, but I think it's 10-7.
Close enough.
Yeah. The second, I will go with the Patriots. I'll say 9-8.
9-8. I am going to go with the Dolphins at 9-8.
Okay. I hope. You know what? We talk about how we like Tom Brady now, and I can't lose my hate. I can't lose my hate for New England, or else I lose my edge. So I just need to keep hating Boston.
And then
Dolphins, you said 9-8.
Yeah.
All right, and then you would have then, I guess, the Patriots.
Yeah, for right now. I know it's going to go against my over-unders for the Jets, but I'm going to have the Patriots go 7-9 or 7-10. And then I'll have the Jets finish out with 6-11. I know that goes against what I said for the over-unders, but
what did you say the Pats record was?
7-10.
Then what do you got the Jets at?
6-11. I know that goes against what I said for over-unders because I said the Jets would get over 7 wins or whatever it was. But if we're looking at like long run, I'll do that. If I'm looking at a betting perspective, like they could go. I have them doing as poorly as 5-12, but as well as what did I have? I think 9-8.
Yeah. All right. So we both have the Bills at the top. I'm going 10-7. You're going 11-6. I have the Pats in second, 9-8. You have the Dolphins at 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Dolphins third with 7-10. You have the Pats third, 7-10. And then we both have the Jets 7-10 as well. So, all right.
That get really scary with this.
Why?
Because we have the same records. We just flip like 2 things around.
I mean, every time I look at over-unders, like I feel like it's not hard. And then it gets to like the last game of the season and they need to win or I lose it. And it's like, goddamn. Well, we will do the 5-on-5 segment maybe later this week. But we'll definitely be covering Madden on our next show for sure. But for 5-on-5 segment, it's just a reoccurring segment we'll do where, I don't know, you take the 5 best baseball players, put them on a soccer field. 5 best basketball players, put them on a football field. Pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that. next time as well. But we've now eclipsed an hour and a half, which is there was a lot to talk about. So it was one of our longer shows, but I think we filled
We
it
had
up.
to make up for the one show last week. So
That's
it makes
very true.
sense.
That's very true. And like I said, I think it's not like we were just babbling. So like we said, only one episode last week. We'll have 2 this week. How do you think the U.S. men's basketball team will do against Spain in the quarters? Do you think they get by Spain, or do you think they lose?
I'm going to say they'll squeak by, but I don't feel confident in that assessment.
I'm going to say I agree with you right now. I think they'll get by Spain, but then I think they would lose in the semifinals. But if that is to happen, that will happen when we do our next show. So we'll get that going. And then just a freezing cold take. Mexico's manager, Tata Martino, he was the Atlanta United coach in the MLS for, 10, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever. He drafted Miles Robinson with the first overall pick in the draft out of Syracuse. Basically told Miles Robinson that he sucked, didn't want to play him, and then obviously Tata is gone from Atlanta United. Now the Mexican coach, and the guy who scores the game winner, Miles Robinson. So it's just revenge is best served cold. So that's about it. I know. That's it for me. I think we got everything. Anything else from you, good sir?
I mean, I have to just hit him with the SCO Dogs before we go.
I know. Hey, forgot to ask you. Have you seen the Insane Clowny Posse shirt?
No.
I'll send you it.
You have to send it to me. I saw him try to do the drills where he's hitting past things when it fell. I thought that was funny.
Zach is making merch.
Oh, is he really? Yeah,
I'll send it. I'll send it to you. But that'll do it for us.
Wait! Breaking news: Carson Wentz will be going under surgery. He's expected to miss 5 to 12 weeks.
I already got that. I could have told you that.
I didn't see it. It got lost in my.
Oh yeah, so I guess quickly then, who's behind him? Who are they going to play?
So they had Jacob Eason.
Can you just pause real quick? I feel like that's such a weird situation because they're going to go into the season knowing that he's going to be ready in week 6. So I feel like that's really tricky.
Yeah, that's what happened with Brady and his suspension and Garoppolo and Brissett. Yo, speaking of Brissett, how they let him walk. How bad do you think they feel right now? Letting Brissett walk? He was the perfect batter. The Miami.
It would not shock me. I can't think of any. Is Tyrod Taylor still around anymore? There's a bunch.
He's in Houston.
You know who they should sign? Maybe he's already signed somewhere else. Mitchell Trubisky.
He's signed with Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
So what they did was they have Jacob Eason as their backup quarterback, who's now the starter. They drafted Sam Ehlinger, and then they went out and signed Brett Hundley.
Jacob Eason got beat out in college by Jake Fromm, who didn't even last, I think, a full season in the NFL. So
he's still in Buffalo.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's
everyone just goes to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. They had to play behind Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, I will say that about backup quarterbacks. I feel so much better going into a season knowing that if Baker Mayfield goes down for obviously, if your quarterback goes down for an extended period of time, 8-9 weeks, you really have no chance that in that scenario. But with Case Keenum, if Baker had to miss a game or two, I feel like Case Keenum could come in and keep them their heads above water. So it definitely does feel good. I also need to caution Browns fan. We need to still calm down a little bit. The season is not here yet.
Don't be putting your life savings on the Super Bowl.
one of the funniest the tweets I saw, and I'll close it out with this. After Nick Chubb signed his extension, Baker Mayfield tweeted like Nicholas Jamal Chubb, like in all caps or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you go online and look at the first response, it's I can't remember what his name is, but it's basically an account that says Big Ben owns you.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's the picture of Baker like hiding behind his like I don't know if it was a mask or whatever, and then like shows them the one game last year where the Steelers beat the Browns. They showed that all the stats from that game. So football's back. I'm excited. I don't want to get too excited about the Browns, but I'm also excited for college football, which we will probably have to talk about on the next show, because what is happening with the SEC, and I think I told, like, I know I've said this to a couple people. College football and college basketball landscape is going to change more in the next 2 years than it did in the previous 50 to 60 years. So it's going to be interesting. But other than that, we will see you next week, Tom.
Let's go Dogs. Already know.